and I'm like, ah. So I appreciate you bearing with me here, and welcome to Empire Masterminds. I do have a board meeting for our local MLS board here at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to be scooting out just a few minutes early here to leave for that. I'll tune us in on the phone just to continue listening, but we're very excited to have Jesse and Nolan here with Zenlist this morning. If you guys are not familiar with Zenlist, and it looks like we've got a nice full house today, which is fabulous. I don't want to steal any thunder from you guys doing a quick introduction, but we're with EXP exclusives. It's kind of our new, through Zenlist, is kind of our new platform here to be able to list our properties, get our clients in to be able to do the searches, and it keeps them tied to us. It's kind of our own off-market MLS, if you will. And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you guys, and you can tell us all about Zenlist, all about the opportunities we have with EXP through you guys. So Jesse and Nolan, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning. You nailed it. That's a really elegant, great way to describe the exclusive offering. I have a slide and I'll walk you through my account. We'll go through like a demo of how to actually use these, how to enter them, how to share them with your clients and all of that. But I am just a little curious, is everyone familiar with the EXP exclusives? Is this brand new to the most of you? I'm just kind of curious how much background knowledge you guys have, or if we're starting off pretty green.
I'll jump in and say I sat through one of your presentations already, so I'm
Nice.
familiar with what it does. We haven't started putting our listings in. We don't have a lot of off-market ones. Most of ours just hit the MLS, and I don't know. I've got to look into how that works. If it's just off-market that go to you, or if it's MLS gets pulled over too. So
Oh, that's a really great. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I can answer that question. So
perfect.
let me. So the EXP exclusives platform, when you sign up for Zenlist, you're essentially getting access to two different listing buckets. The first are EXP's off-market listings. So those are the off MLS, private pocket coming soon. They have a lot of different names depending on the local language, but they're all essentially not on the MLS. They're not on these public search sites. They're kind of an exclusive listing that you can choose to share with your clients and clients that you think might be interested without having to do the whole MLS rigmarole, right? And then the second bucket of listings is all of EXP's MLS activity. So anything that any EXP agent has currently listed on any of the 500 MLSs across the US and Canada will automatically be sent to us through a data feed from EXP. So you get both. The difference will be which listings you enter into Zenlist and which ones we get fed automatically. So anything that's active on the market right now, we should already have. You won't need to re-enter that. But anything that is new, so if we get a listing agreement signed this afternoon and my client would like to keep it off of the MLS, or maybe we just have a postponed activation date, we're going to go live after the summer, I can use that in between time while we're not in the MLS, but I have that listing agreement signed to share that listing with other EXP agents. And so it kind of replaces the need to make a post in Workplace or, bring it. Yeah, I see it happen a lot. These sales meetings will have conversations about listings that are coming soon. And if you know anyone, it's this address. We're thinking this list price, things like that. It really systematizes it so all of EXP has access to it. And it's really easy to share those listings with your clients. You're not going to miss anybody along the way. So I'll show you, I'll get into my demo. That's where I'll spend most of my time with you guys today, but I do like to talk about the benefits a little bit, do a little bit of storytelling about why you might list your listing as an exclusive, why your sellers might be interested in that, and the benefits that come along with it, because I always think it's important to recognize this isn't going to be the solution for everybody. We all, have listings where my client wants to go the traditional route. They want to sell really quick. We're going to go into the MLS, but there are other situations where your sellers might like the choice to keep it off of the MLS. If they are a high profile client, especially right now, if they have a lot of equity in their home and they don't necessarily want that syndicated to public search sites. If your clients have a distressed listing, a property they've just inherited, maybe they've experienced a loss and they don't want to worry about getting the property MLS ready, they don't want to do the open houses or anything like that, you can give them the choice to take it a little bit slow, keep that property close to your heart, and just share it amongst EXP to see what happens. It also gives you a really great opportunity to test the market, because any price changes that happen as an exclusive, any market time isn't accrued as an exclusive listing. So when you go into your MLS, if you choose to transition it to a traditional listing, you're starting off with a clean slate. Even though you might have had it listed as an exclusive for 3 months, that market time doesn't count against you. So you can really test the market, use it to gather some data and some insights for your sellers if they haven't quite decided on some of those final details. And then with your buyers, like you mentioned, you're going to be able to give them access to these listings that no one else in your area can. They're exclusive to EXP. Other agents in your area won't have access to them. And so you'll be able to give them a database of listings that they're not finding anywhere else. When inventory is so tight, the perfect home for them might be on this exclusive network, and you can be the one to bridge that gap for them. I just talked about all of these. Everything that I'll show you is included in your EXP starter plan. It's paid for by EXP. We send them the bill every month, so there's no credit card required. There's no trial period. It's just a benefit that EXP believes in, and they're providing to you at no cost. So your access to view these listings, to enter these listings and share them with your client groups is absolutely no cost to you. It's provided by EXP. And if you
Jessica,
haven't,
can I
go ahead.
interrupt you just for a second?
Please
I mean,
do.
that's
Yeah.
a huge benefit for us at EXP. Would other brokerages have the ability to work with Zenlist, or individual agents have the opportunity to do that? And if so, you know, I mean, maybe you can't share it, but what would the cost be? Like, just to show what kind of benefit we're getting here.
Oh, it's a great question. So, Zenlist is available to other agents, other markets, other brokerages. We have other brokerage partners. Nobody at the scale of EXP, though. I think that being a part of EXP, you have this force behind you of this national brokerage, this international brokerage behind you, and the support of all of those agents. That's really unique to EXP. It's not something we can find another example of. So, while we do partner with other brokerages and we work with individual agents and teams, nothing quite at this scale with EXP for these exclusive listings. Traditionally, our pricing starts at $39 a month, goes all the way up to $99 a month, I think. So it's a real value, these listings, this access. It's a mobile app you can take with you on the go. Nolan, I don't know if you have anything you wanted to chime in and add about that.
No, I think that's well said. And so my role at Zenlist is I specifically work with sales and strategy. So I'm the head of US sales here at Zenlist. So I do have a lot of conversations with brokerages, with teams. And Jesse nailed it. I think the flexibility that is afforded by EXP, being the largest transaction-based brokerage in the United States and the brokerage with a tremendous agent count, even if Zenlist is available, to the limit that EXP Exclusives has, it's an offering only available to EXP. So you today, if you put a listing on EXP Exclusives, there's a route and a direct connection to potentially an agent in Orlando, Florida, who may have a client looking for property, and a transaction can happen through Zenlist almost immediately because you have a property that's available through EXP Exclusives. It's visible to an agent that is not in your MLS, not even in your state. And that's a very big, powerful connection. And EXP had the foresight to sort of see what the trouble was happening with all the settlement changes, the spotlight on the industry, and wanted to create essentially an all-inclusive platform, betting on their agents being still immensely valuable for both the buyers and sellers, and affording you the flexibility to offer something that is very different from the norm for your buyers as well as for your sellers. So I think what we love most about this and this partnership is the flexibility we've seen and the adoption that EXP agents have really brought to this. We've got a lot of stories we'd be happy to share over the case of the caller and follow up, but really the flexibility provided is what I think is the most unique offering for EXP. So after this call, we want to hear all the great wins, all the great stories, all the unique use cases, if you will, that people come up with for different listings or for different buyers. But Jesse, I think you nailed it. I think that's a big part of what's made us so excited about this partnership.
Well, and I would assume the power in this is the more people that use it, the better, right? I mean, if we get the onesie twosies, okay, it's only as good as what we're putting in. So if we all are putting our listings in, whether they're active or off market, that just builds this platform to be stronger and better for all of our agents across the world, really.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But
yeah, definitely. Cool. So if you haven't already signed up yet, you can do that at Zenlist.com. You can download our mobile app in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. You'll actually create an account, so you'll have to go through the sign up process. I recommend, if you haven't created your account yet, to use the option to continue with Enterprise. That'll have you use your Okta login, and then in our backend system, we'll recognize exactly who you are. You can choose any email address, any sign-in method you prefer, but that just takes some of the steps out of the process. The important thing to note is that if you are asked for an MLS, you may not see your local MLS in that drop-down list. It doesn't matter. You're going to choose EXP MLS listings in that option, and that's what's going to get you access to that database of listings. Even though they're not a proper MLS, they're being treated as one in our backend system. And so that's what you'll choose. That's what'll get you that free account and all of that. So I'll share this with you again towards the end, but if you haven't already created your account, it takes less than a minute or two. So without further ado,
I just did it and it was super easy, just so everyone knows. Took me like 2 seconds.
Perfect. So when you're opening your Zenlist account, like I said, everything's cross-compatible between web and mobile. Depending on time and things like that, I can actually share my screen and walk you through our mobile app as well. This is what the desktop version looks like. You'll have your main navigation on the left. I've got some clients that are added here. You won't have those until you invite anybody just yet. And before we dive too deep into clients, I want to talk about the actual listings. So I normally start in this search tab. If you're following along on your mobile app, it's across the bottom of your screen there. You'll click on the little magnifying glass, and it's going to open your search tab here. You might be located in a little bit of a wonky spot. You can change where your map opens in your account settings. But what I've got here are all of these little black dots, and these are those listings that have been added into Zenlist. There's over 1,400 active right now. I think we're really close to 3,000 total that have been entered into Zenlist, and about 160 of them have closed off market. So I can build a search just like I would anywhere else. I've got all my filters here, any HOAs, parking spots, pools, pets, everything here you can filter for. So if you have a client who has a really specific set of criteria, you can build that search here. You don't have to manually go through and screen all of those 3,000 listings to find the perfect fit. You can proactively search for it. And you'll have all of your locations across the top. So these are your cities, towns, counties, zip codes. You can also search by school districts and specific school zones if your clients need to be in, let's say, a specific high school so they don't have to switch their senior year. You can search by all of those predetermined boundaries using this location bar across the top. And you can also freehand a specific boundary if there's a radius that you'd like to search for or just a general area that you work in a lot. You can also freehand those drawing tools across the very top. I'm going to pick on Atlanta. So I can normally type it without a spelling mistake. Let's see. Atlanta, Georgia. So adding that to my map gives me these little blue lines here. Those are the city limits of Atlanta. So that's the boundary I have. There are currently 4 off markets in Atlanta. I can add additional boundaries here if I want to add those neighboring cities, or I have 5 or 6 different cities that I want to look in. And I can also freehand those. So if I wanted to just search a general radius of Atlanta, I can pop that circle on my map and it'll add it as another boundary here. I can preview these properties in the top right corner. You'll default to the map view when you're searching, but there's also the tile view, which is my favorite because you've got all the pretty photos. And there's also a list view as well. You can customize the columns that are here so that you're seeing all of the information you care most about front and center. That way it'll give you a good Excel sheet kind of view of those listings, and you can really be methodical about what it is you're choosing. When you click into a listing, you'll get all of the listing details that the listing agent has entered. So I've got all of the photos here that have been entered. I'll have the remarks entered by the listing agent. I've also got that contact information here. Any clients that I invite onto Zenlist won't see this. So this is just for me if I need to contact Tracy and ask them some questions about this property. I've got that available for me. I don't have to go find or track them down, but it's restricted for my clients. So if my client sees this property and they want to know more information, they're going to come directly to me, and then I can use my resources to get that information for them. I've got all the key details, amenities. There's a mortgage calculator your clients can use, and you can also search by similar homes, and you'll have access to school information down below. If your clients aren't familiar with that location, they can learn a little bit more about the schools in the area. Now, to share this listing with your clients, there are two ways I would recommend doing it. The very first is to send this listing directly in your Zenlist account to your clients. So you invite your clients to join you. I'll show you how to do that, but you'll have your clients that will populate here. I can say, I think this is a great fit for Emily and John. I can click on their name, type a little message about maybe why I'm sharing that listing with them, send it off. They'll get a notification from Zenlist that I've shared that property with them. They'll read the chat message inside of Zenlist, and then they can just respond back right in the app. So we have that text thread established in the same place that we're using to search for homes. You also have a public branded page. The name's a little deceiving. I don't recommend sharing this anywhere publicly, but what you can do is share this in Workplace to call attention to it to other EXP agents. We actually have a Workplace group where you can share your listings there. We'll give you some love on them. But you can also text this link to your clients if they haven't accepted your invitation just yet, or maybe you don't have that listing agreement just signed, so you're kind of holding off on that invitation. You can use this link to say, well, here's a listing in the off markets that I think would be a good fit for you. If you want to know more, like, let's have that conversation. And your clients can view the details on their end and then text you back or email you back wherever you've shared that link with them to let you know what they think. And like I said, maybe continue that conversation and show that value to get that agreement signed, the selling agreement, the buyer's agreement, whatever that looks like in your processes. You can use it to kind of really demonstrate that value front and center for your clients. So I'll open it in an incognito window so you can see what it looks like. It's a really clean page. You'll be able to see all of the listing information. I've got those same remarks. Your name will be the one that appears here because you're the one that generated that link. But then they can flip through, again, all of the photos that have been entered, the details here. A lot of the same information is here in that public branded page. And if your clients would like to request access to search on Zenlist, they can do that using the button here or the Access Properties button in the top right. That'll have them actually create an account, and then they're sent to you as a new lead in your account that you can approve their searching access to. You'll be able to see their activity, everything that they're doing along the way. Okay. So to set up a client, I'll go into my clients tab here, and then there's a little invite client button towards the very top of my screen here. And I'm just going to enter that person's contact information here. So first, last name and email address are the only required fields. The phone number is optional. I recommend it if you've got it, especially if you're sitting across the table from those clients. It'll send them a copy of the invite to them as a text message so they can create their account, download our app right away. And the process is very simple for them. It's much simpler for them than it is for you as an agent. So if that says anything about how easy it is for your clients, it's not a big chore or burden for them to get connected with you in Zenlist. And then once they activate their account, they'll come to you in this active clients tab. I can see all of the clients I've invited here as well. These are people who are pending my invitations, and then active clients are working with me. They're connected with me in my account. Clicking on that client's name takes me into their feed. This is what they see when they sign into Zenlist. So all of the properties are in the same order. They're going to see the same photos, the same listing information. There's no delay in the information or the updates that they're receiving here. I can see their activity in the top right corner. Sadly, Emily and John Krasinski are not actually working with me, so there is no activity here to show. But with your actual clients, you'll be able to see exactly what listings they've clicked into, who liked the property, who hid that property, who liked it or disliked it. You can see who's got more expensive taste than the other, who's more active, and use that to gather some really good insights to make good, valid touch points with your clients along the way. And then you also have some folders across the very top that'll help you organize different categories or organization ways. You can view all of the listings based on what's happened to them. So if my clients have saved 18 different properties, I can see all 18 of those grouped together in that saved folder. Use that to make some assumptions about what their taste might be like. The last thing I want to show you is how to actually enter a listing into Zenlist.
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah.
Before we show the enter the listing, can I just jump in really quick on one thing for the clients? So we've run a lot of these different sort of trainings and spoken, and one of the best points of feedback we've gotten in questions was, to Jesse's point, would I want to add my clients into this platform, or do I want to just share them the listings from the listing page like you had mentioned? So I think there's two things that we always like to bring up. So if you have never created your Zenlist account, and I think somebody had just created the Zenlist account earlier, you'll go through a quick walkthrough, a quick onboarding video. When you sign up, you'll be given a very general search based on the state of the parent office that you're linked to in EXP. From there, you'll receive notifications and updates anytime there's a new EXP exclusive listed added for your state specifically. If you don't operate in certain markets in your state, it would make sense that you'd probably want to refine that. So you can really easily change that to whether you want it to be just your city, just a certain price point, whether it's million plus, anything like that, right from the Zenlist platform. And then it's the idea of, do I want my clients to be on this platform having access to this inventory, or do I want to be able to present it to them? And both are very fair thoughts and very fair paths. If you lean more to the idea that you would like to share the listings with them directly as something populates that you've seen how you can do that from a private listing page. You can text it, you can email it, you can post it on Workplace, whatever your preference would be. But where we've seen a lot of EXP agents having success and sort of bridging this gap for what's happening in August is one critical thing. Zenlist is not a public portal. So it's not a Zillow, it's not a Redfin, it's not a realtor.com. If I'm a client and I go to zenlist.com, the only thing I'm going to see is zenlist.com, a couple cool headshots of our pets, and no way to actually access the platform. They would need to be invited specifically by a realtor or an agent to be able to be added and access this platform at all. So one of the distinct advantages we've seen EXP agents take up who choose to invite their clients into this is, one, if that client is a little wishy-washy in terms of maybe they don't want to sign a buyer's agreement yet, or maybe they're not necessarily ready to jump full head on into the process, you, of course, want to be respectful of that client's time, but you also want to be respectful of your time. So a very easy way to bridge that gap is saying, totally understand. One of the perks you would get from me by being working with my team or my brokerage is I can access exclusive inventory across the United States, only available to you as a client of mine. We don't have to do anything today, but I can invite you onto this platform and feel free to take a look periodically. The purpose of Zenlist is to help give you an additional sticky product to offer to keep your clients engaged with you throughout all stages of the home buying process. One of the nice things about it is a client doesn't have to be an individual. You can invite multiple, investor groups, spouses, partners, roommates, all in one client group, and they each get access to creating their own searches or creating their own review. And ultimately, when you get on, you can create a search for them in the city that they're looking for, and then they can receive and set up their own notifications. So if all of a sudden, maybe they're not that active of a client at this point, but something pops on in their market in what they're looking for, they'll receive a text notification as well as an email notification. And so will you if you decide to. And then that client can reach right back out. So there is no requirement to add your client into Zenlist, but where we see the recommendation coming from is giving you that ability to sort of bridge the gap. And giving them a reason to sign on, giving you the exclusive opportunity to chat and communicate back and forth with them. So we've got a lot of different resources, a lot of different trainings, workflows, and stories we can share with anybody on the team here or anybody who may have team members underneath them that would think this would be a good value. We've got a lot of resources right within the platform that Jesse will show. Sorry for interrupting, Jesse. Thanks for letting me get in there.
No, not an interruption at all. Okay, great. So the last thing I want to show you is just how to enter or manage your listings, your exclusive listings in Zenlist. You'll go into the My Listings tab of your account. If you're on the mobile app, you'll actually go into your account page in the bottom right, and then across the top of your screen, it'll say switch to listings. And then it'll bring you to a page that looks something like this. This, in theory, should have your active MLS listings here, so I can see that Zenlist is pulling them automatically from that data feed EXP sends us. And then to enter a new listing, I'll just go into the very top right. I'll enter new listing here. It's going to prompt me through all of the specific steps I need to follow. So I'm going to choose, I'm entering an EXP residential listing here. It's going to ask me for the property type. I always choose residential single family home because that's kind of house I live in, but you have all of the different options here you can choose from. And then it's going to ask you for the address. I'll click on next here. And if I have a unit number, I can include that. If not, I'll click save. And that's just created a draft for me. So similar to how most MLS systems work, you can create a draft, kind of edit it along the way. And then when you're ready, you can publish it. It's the same thing here. This screen has a lot of fields on it. The vast majority of them are optional. So really another beautiful thing about listing as an exclusive is that you don't need complete property information in order to share that listing. The only required fields are the ones we've already filled out. And then you'll also need a status. This is the status of your listing as an exclusive. So if I choose active here, it means I have an active agreement to share this listing as an office exclusive. It does not mean active in my MLS in the same sense. It's almost two separate systems, right? I can choose active or coming soon. If I get a contract or an offer or anything like that, if we close, I'll choose all of those other statuses. But starting out, I'll choose active or coming soon, whichever one sings to your heart. I don't need photos. I recommend them, but you don't need them if you don't have them just yet. You can always come back and add them at a later date, but it's not a required field. It's not going to hinder you from actually entering that property. And then since we chose residential, I'll need bedrooms and public remarks, which can be an entire property description, or it could be as simple as, coming this summer. And then there's a ton of other information here. I don't need a list price if I don't have that finalized just yet. I can choose to enter some private remarks if there's anything agent to agent that I need to add. Just yesterday, EXP gave us permission to add back the field for buyer broker compensation. So that'll be added back in the next few days. So if you have a seller who's offering that commission, you can share that as an exclusive. It was previously removed, so you won't see it just yet, but we're getting that added back in. And if you need to, you can also search for a field across the very top here. So if this property has, I always use pools. If it has a pool, I can choose to say, yes, it has a private pool. And I don't have to scan that list to find it. I can just go directly to that field. If it's got an HOA, maybe it's association fee. There we go, association fee. I can jump right to that field and fill it out. I don't have to scan everything to find exactly what I'm looking for. And then once you've added everything you need, you'll just click to review and publish changes in the bottom right. It's going to verify we have everything we need. And the very last field that we haven't talked about yet is this expiration date. The expiration date is required. What it does is automatically expire your listing out of Zenlist as an exclusive. But it also sends you an email the day before that happens. So there are two ways I would recommend choosing this expiration date. The very first is if you never planned to put this listing in the MLS, my client does not want it public. They don't, we've had that conversation. They just want to keep it as an exclusive. I would choose the date your listing agreement expires, which is typically how we choose this expiration date, right? However, if you plan to transition this listing into an MLS listing at some point in the future, I would choose that date or your best guess of that date. So going back to my example, maybe I meet with a seller today, we get agreement assigned. They tell me that they're going to list after the summer ends. They don't want to worry about it while their kids are in the house. So come September, they're going to list. But they've given me permission during these few months to share that listing as an exclusive. I might choose my expiration date as, let's say, September 13th is the day we're going to go live in the MLS. So when I choose September 13th, I know that on the 12th, I'm going to get an email from Zenlist saying, hey, 123 Main Street set to expire tomorrow. If you need more time, here's how you update that date. And then if we change plans, if they're going to go onto the market sooner or they need more time as an exclusive, the state's flexible. But what it does is it just takes some of the thought process out of it. So if I choose my activation date, it's one less thing I have to come back and do in Zenlist. It'll just automatically kind of trade them off so I don't have two of the same listing floating around in the interwebs. So I'll choose September 13th as my example here. I get the green check mark ready to publish, and I would just click publish in the bottom right. At that point, it's sent to the search screen we started on. Anyone who has a search saved for that property is immediately notified. So you can start to see in your My Listings tab, clicking on the address of that property takes you to see some general statistics about how many times it's been viewed, has it been saved by anybody, how that's changed over time. So you can see all of that here. It all happens in real time, so it can all happen very quickly. We've heard a couple of stories over the last few weeks where an agent has actually entered a listing from the app on their phone in the living room of the property, and by the end of the day, they had emails and voicemails wanting to learn more. So it all happens very fast, and that collaboration happens in real time. And then if you just need to make any changes, you'll come in to edit the listing and you get brought back to that same screen. So this is where I can add those photos at a later date, add a list price, change my expiration date, whatever I need to do here. Great. What questions do we have? I can talk kind of fast. There's a chat message. Let me see.
Oh yeah, I just put it in there. So I signed up a couple months ago and I just went in and none of my active listings are showing up. But I'm wondering is because we enter them in as DeMail Real Estate, a team name.
Oh, that's
my
probably
account
it.
through Zenlist is Kelly DeMail. So how does that work with teams?
That's a great question. What I'll do is I'll connect you with our support team because they know much more about the nuances than I do. So after we are wrapped up here, I'll just send a message with you and I and our support team there so that they can confirm my theory. But I think that when it's listed under a team account, those listings are connected to whomever the team leader is. So I believe that would be all of those listings will appear under Bruce's account, but I'll have them confirm because that's my theory, but I'm not 100% confident on that.
I need to fire you, Bruce. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah. Any other questions or anything I can show you again? I know I can talk fast but I want to be sure everyone feels real good. And I saw nods and things along the way. So some resources you can take with you just in case you need them. Nolan and I are both in Workplace. You can email us directly. I'm Jessie@zenlist.com. I'm very easy to find, but I'm also in Workplace if that's a better place to communicate with me. If you need help, if you have any feedback or suggestions, anything urgent, I'd recommend using our support team. They're phenomenal. And they have about a 1.5-minute response time. So if it feels like the floor's on fire, reach out to them and they'll be able to help you a bit quicker than I will. But I'm here to be a resource as well as Nolan and some other folks from the Zenlist team. We've got training videos, resources, webinars, marketing materials. Those QR codes across the very bottom will share with you a little bit more where you can dive a little bit deeper into things. And yeah, I'm happy to help answer any other questions you have or any thoughts. Nolan, if you had anything you wanted to add, anything I might have glazed over.
No, if anybody has any questions, I think we'll probably dive a little bit deeper. So feel free if anybody has questions, fire away in the chat or come off mute. We're happy to help.
Hey, Jesse, this is great information. I just have a quick question in regards to, obviously, this is great for agents, especially as they have to articulate their value proposition with some of the changes around the corner. But with the number of clients with the free offering that EXP gives us, when you, on the bottom, it says upgrade to pro, and it says 10 clients left on your EXP starter plan. Does that change? Is it 10 at one time or 10 total as a member? How does that work?
Thank you so much for asking. I always forget to talk about the different plan options. So in the starter plan, you get 10 client groups. Those are 10 different families. So if we go back to my clients in my account here, I've got Macho Gatto, this is a test account. And then I've got Emily and John Krasinski. Even though there are 2 people in this client group, it's only claiming one of those 10. So connecting them is what we call co-buyers, keeps everyone in the same group. So you get 10 different groups or families in your starter plan. And then when you remove one of them, you can replace them with someone else. So it's kind of a rolling 10 at any given time. If you needed more than 10, you could upgrade to Pro. You get a discount for being a part of EXP. It's $33 a month, and you get some more benefits along the way. But if you feel like 10's a good number, I'd kind of stick with that starter plan until your local MLS is supported, or some of our other features we have on our roadmap too might be worthwhile for you as well.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Oh, great question. Thank you for asking.
Say, Jess,
Mhm.
you, along with some other things as well, what would that be?
On the Pro plan is what you're asking, right?
Correct.
So I've got a good slide let me just pull it up. You can see all of it in your account under the My Subscription section. But I've got, there we go. So in that starter plan, you get 10 client groups, as many listings as you can manage. If you've got 100 listings, you can put them all in there. You're not limited on the number of listings you can share, the number of searches you can create, or anything like that. What I would recommend upgrading to Probe for would either be if you need more than 10 clients, or if your local MLS is supported in Zenlist, then you could really have a whole encompassing search where your clients can see not only what's in your local market, everything that's on the exclusives network for EXP, get them off of Zillow, get them off of all of those other public search sites, and really get that collaboration into it. Nolan, I know that this is kind of your area. I don't know if you want to talk about Minnesota or that market expansion. I know we don't have a lot of coverage there just yet, but that would be another thing I would look out for maybe an upgrade.
Yeah, great point. So that would be our recommendation, largely where we see EXP agents deciding to move from the free plan, which again was everything you saw today, is if they decide to use this as a tool for their entire client group. 10 usually solves a lot of the needs for the active buyers, but you may be a large producing team, which I'm sure most of you are on this call, and maybe over 10 client groups in a given day, let alone in a week. So that may be a great reason to upgrade. The primary reason we see, and you'll see that under multi-MLS support. So as I'd mentioned, we aren't a public portal. Agents can't, or clients can't join. When we support an MLS, there are certain MLSs we work with in markets where we actually operate as almost a mobile MLS. So instead of using something like Flex or One Home or Paragon Connect, agents are using Zenlist because we pull live active MLS data. So depending on where you're located in the country, you may have an avenue to upgrade your account to also not only just add the EXP MLS listings, the EXP off-market listings, but all the listing data and detail information from all of the brokerages in the MLS membership. So that could be an avenue if you decide to upgrade your plan. Again, it's not required by any stretch. And we'll send this as a follow-up. I know we're recorded, but we're happy to send this to Kelly and Bruce for a detailed breakdown. If anybody does have any interest, they can, of course, reach out to me or Jesse, and we can give you a pretty detailed breakdown depending on your market and the size of your team or your business. And it's right in front of me, so even better.
Thank you.
Definitely. Great questions. Anything else? I wonder.
So the map that's in front of us, Minnesota is in white. We're in Minnesota. What does that mean? Does that mean that you're not hooked up with an MLS in Minnesota?
Not currently, to my knowledge. MLSs, because we're not to get overly technical first
Yeah.
thing in the morning, but most sites pull as what's called an IDX feed. We deal more with vendor only or broker back office. So there's a process in place for most MLSs. And unfortunately, every process is a little bit different. So largely when we add an MLS, it's dictated by where agents are asking us to go. So if there's a need for multiple agents on this call that would like to explore having this MLS added, please connect with me on Workplace. I'd love your feedback. And the MLS is directly needed, and we can make a plan to go from there.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. just for clarification, I feel like this happens sometimes where we start talking about which MLSs are supported and which aren't. That has absolutely no impact on your ability to use the exclusives. EXP exclusives is nationwide. All of US and Canada is currently supported. We're in conversations with EXP to expand that a little bit more globally in certain countries as well. So when we're talking about whether or not your MLS is supported, it's strictly only that local MLS data, but you have access to those exclusive listings, access to all of EXP's MLS listings, regardless of whether or not your MLS is supported, because EXP is kind of treated as your MLS in our backend system. So just in case that was, that happens sometimes where it's a technical, it's a tricky conversation to have, and it makes sense in my mind, but it's hard sometimes to articulate it. So I just wanted to be sure to mention that as well.
So this might be a question for most of the agents in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area who do use Zenlist. Is there specific verbiage that you write in additionally to a listing agreement to give you permission from the client to put their house on Zenlist? Bob or Dave, I don't know if you guys use it, or Angela, I don't know if you've heard anybody doing that.
I don't know that you would need to get permission if you have the listing contract signed. To me, it would just be part of the marketing piece that you as an agent would offer to that client.
Okay, I suppose it wouldn't be like a coming soon or anything, because that applies to the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your state broker should be able to tell you exactly what's needed. Most of the states have, if there's an exemption form required or an amendment to the listing agreement required, all of that's been added into their processes. I hear SkySlope thrown around a lot where we can find all of that. So your state broker should be able to tell you specifically what's needed. Unfortunately, each MLS is different and has different regulations for what's required. Some don't require anything. Some require some more hoops to jump through, but your state broker, if you're not sure, should be able to give you an exact answer.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else?
Anybody have any more questions for these guys? Do you want to, Nolan, Jesse, do you guys want to put your contact information in the chat?
Yes.
So that people can pull that off and connect with you directly if they have any questions or upgrade questions or anything.
Jesse Nolan, Bob Snyder here again. Do you guys have like a YouTube channel, or do you have an area which we can access as Zenlist members to get kind of best practices on utilizing the technology?
That's a great question. We do. I'm going to find that link. We have recorded webinars and tons of videos and how-to tutorials and things like that. We actually did a webinar about best practices for EXP exclusive. So I'll drop that rather than YouTube, because it can be hard to navigate just the way we structure our content internally. I'll drop this link. It's help.zenlist.com is where we host all of our support articles and videos and things like that, including all of those webinar recordings. So you can, there's an article in there for training webinars where you can register for one that's upcoming. It's a lot of the same content here, so it might not be necessary if you feel pretty good and comfortable, but there's also some more content about marketing. You can access marketing materials like social media templates and things like that. So I would check out that link as well. And if there's something that you think is missing, or if you lose that somewhere along the way, either Nolan or I or our support team can share that with you. And we'd be happy to hear any feedback as well about what you think we might be, like I said, missing, anything you think we might be able to add. I've created some specific templates and things like that for agents who wanted something a little bit more specific. So just don't be a stranger. We'd love to hear more about your experience, and all that does is just help us grow and better support not only you, but agents like yourself.
Great. Thank you.
Definitely.
Anything else? Any other questions for Jesse or Nolan? Mercedes? No? Yes?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, if nothing else, I want to thank Nolan and Jesse for coming on today and enlightening us on how to use Zenlist. I think it's an awesome tool. I think if we are able to, like Kelly said in the beginning, it's only as good as everybody that uses it, right? And I know in our area, nobody uses it, which is unfortunate. We need to change that. So I think we're gonna get together and start collaborating with some local agents and try to do that, because I think there's a value to especially having off-market listings or reasons that Jesse mentioned to that clients might not want their homes on the market, and we need to know about those so we can help get those sold and help those people move on too. So if there's nothing else, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We will cut this short. I know that Nolan and Jesse put their contact information in the chat. This is recorded, so the recording will be up either later today or tomorrow. If you missed anything and want to go back through it on our Empire Masterminds Facebook page. So without further ado, thank you very much. Very good to see you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
And everybody have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Bruce, for
Thanks.
coordinating. Appreciate it.
Yes,
you.
thanks for coordinating. Good
Thanks,
info.
guys.